What mistakes do managers commonly make when leading change? You've been tasked with leading a change in your organization, and you're ready to dive in. Keep your employees engaged and inspired, but you're curious about what mistakes you could be making through the process. Good thinking. I'm ready to share the secrets behind all of that. You ready to get it? Let's dive in. In this video, I'm going to be sharing not one, not two, not three, but four of the common pitfalls that managers make when leading change. I'm going to start with the things that are so important that you not diminish. Next, we'll get into what it's so very important to embrace as you're going through this. And lastly, I'm going to talk about what it's so important for you to establish for each and every one of your employees. Pitfall number one. Too often managers diminish negative emotions of change. Now, I'm not one who typically call emotions like fear and frustration and anxiety and grief negative, because I think they're gifts. They signal us into our greatest opportunities to grow. But when we're going and especially leading through change, it's so important that you're inviting and acknowledging those more difficult emotions, not only in yourself, but also in your employees. You know, as leaders, so often we want to be really positive, rah-rah, cheering our organization on. But that can be a little bit tone deaf, especially at the start of a change initiative. So it's so important that you're inviting and acknowledging those more difficult emotions to increase the engagement, especially at the start of a change initiative. Pitfall number two. We focus too heavily on the vision and not enough on employee well-being and engagement going through the journey. You know, it's obviously critical that you cite and declare the vision for the change, why you're making it, why it's important. But as you're moving through the journey, it's also important that you're putting building blocks, avenues, platforms for employees to maintain engaged, fulfilled, and taking care of themselves moving through the change journey. So just as important as it is to communicate and state a very clear vision, it's also very important to communicate what you're establishing in an organization for employees to still have well-being and fulfillment moving through the change. Remember, it's not processes and documents that make change happen. Your people make change happen, and they need to stay engaged and fulfilled moving through change, especially when it can be stressful and complex. Yo, are you getting value from this? Have you yourself felt some of those negative emotions and maybe been shy about sharing it with the organization? Comment below. I want to hear about it. Pitfall number three, and this one is so important to be aware of. Managers so often don't accept and embrace that everyone wears change differently, right? We're all human. There's going to be some employees that are going to be gung-ho, ready to dive in, walk with you in the change. There are going to be others that are feeling a lot more of those more difficult emotions, feeling a lot more resistant and hesitant to the change. So the way that you engage from employee to employee needs to be a little bit different based on where that employee is in the change journey. Now, the other tip that I'll add with this one is when you do have those employees that are ready to lean in, that are so excited about making the change a success, leverage those individuals as influencers throughout the organization. There's something that I write about in my book called emotional contagion. We can literally catch the emotions of people around us. So when you have people who are highly energetic and really bought into the change, leverage those individuals. You know, make sure they're sitting in the meeting, sharing their perspective and helping to catch some of that good emotional energy. But again, remember, everyone wears change differently, and the way that you connect with individual to individual might need to change depending on where they are in the change journey. Pitfall number four, the final one, but definitely one of the most important. Managers fail to create avenues for employees to emote, to express how they're experiencing the change. This is so important. As a leader, it's so important that when you think about the way that you're communicating with your teams, with the individuals in your organization, that you're not only sharing communication down to the organization, but you're also having an avenue open for them to share back. You know, as a leader, it's so important that we're holding space, especially at the beginning of a change, when employees are feeling those more difficult emotions. Create that safe space for them to emote, to express how they're handling, how they're managing the change. That's going to make them know that they're valued, that they're heard, and that you're striving to understand them. The possibilities are endless when you can embrace that these are the common pitfalls as you're working to lead through this change. If you can avoid these, you're going to be better poised for success of your change initiative. So now that you know the common pitfalls of leading through change, I've got something else for you. So I want to share with you a free recording of a keynote that I did for a client who was going through tremendous internal transformation and a lot of industry disruption. In this clip, I share key insights of leaders that leaders need to think about when they're going through a lot of change and disruption. And it's yours free today. All you got to do is click below. I want to make sure you have the research, the data, and the insights to be successful when you're going through change, no matter how challenging or how stressful. And until we meet again, keep growing and keep rocking.